try to get started so we can get you out of here on time. My name is Carol Ferguson. I'm with the Orange County Community Foundation, and I'm super excited to welcome you to the launch of our new collaborative Giving Day model. We're really excited to share with you the tools and resources that are available to your nonprofits to continue to improve your online fundraising efforts. Come on in, ladies. Sorry. So, a couple housekeeping items. Isn't this a lovely location? PIMCO Foundation was so nice to host us today. I wanted to let you know that on your armrests, everybody has a microphone. So if you do have a question, we'll have time for questions. You can lift the microphone. There's a little button on the side, and we'll be able to hear you. So I wanted to let you know that. The bathrooms, if you need a restroom, just go out past the elevators. Right before you hit the cafe, take a right, and the restrooms are down there. And also you will need to have your parking ticket validated. So if you didn't get that done before you came up, please make sure you get your parking validated on the way out. And lastly, we will have a link that we'll send out to the presentation slides. We're also having this videoed, so we should have a video available soon. And we will send the link, come on in, out soon. So we have a packed agenda, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, well, I think most of you know me. I'm Carol Ferguson, as I said, and I think you know me from our past Giving Days, and I'm really happy to be here today to roll out the new model. Our other speakers include Brenda Springer, who's the founder and CEO of Reveille, and they are our marketing partner for Giving Days, so they were responsible for all the marketing and digital assets that we put together in 2015 and 2016. And I'm also super excited to introduce Justin Wheeler, the founder and CEO of Fundraise. They offer a technology platform that's built for Giving Days and for ongoing online fundraising with built-in donor management tools. So you're going to get to hear from both these people later in the presentation. So let's take a look at what we're going to cover. First of all, we're going to start by taking a look back at 2015 and 2016 and what occurred for the iHeartOC Giving Days. We're then going to discuss a case study of a local collaborative Giving Day that occurred last spring called Help Them Home. You're going to hear about how it came to be, the branding, the results, and you actually get to hear from a panel of the nonprofits that participated, so they can tell you their experience about what it was like to go from a countywide Giving Day to a collaborative Giving Day, and how it differed from them. Their original efforts were to do these on their own. The next, we're going to go ahead and unpack the new model. So we're going to look at the support that you're going to receive from OCCF, from Reveille. We're going to look at the Fundraise technology platform and talk about some additional training opportunities that we're going to have available throughout the year. And lastly, of course, you want to know how to get involved. So we will share with you how your nonprofit can get involved with the collaborative Giving Days. Okay, so let's take a look back. You guys were very successful. As most of you may remember, we kicked off the iHeartOC Giving Day in honor of the Community Foundation's 25th anniversary. And in our first year, we had almost 350 participating nonprofits who together raised $1.8 million. One of the most exciting things about the first year is that 38% of donors that day self-identified as new donors to the organizations they gave to. So it really told us that Giving Days are a great way for nonprofits to reach beyond their normal audiences, create attention, and gain new donors. So 2016, our numbers just took off. They really soared. We had over 400 participating nonprofits. Most of you are in the room today. And we doubled the amount of money that you all raised together to $3.2 million. And where you really grew was in the number of donors. So the number of donors increased by 65% over 2015. And of course, the more donors you have, the more money you're going to raise, thus, $3.2 million. We really believe that the increase in the results in 2016 were due to, first of all, just the fact that you had gone through it before. In 2015, a lot of the participating nonprofits didn't really even know what a Giving Day was, how to go about it. And I think by 2016, you all had a little bit of a feel, what went well for you the first year, what you could do to improve your efforts in the second year. The Community Foundation also offered a lot more training. We did some training about getting your board involved, how to steward donors, so we offered quite a bit more training than we had in the first year. So overall, in the 2 years of iHeartOC Giving Day, the campaign raised over $5 million to support the missions of the participating nonprofits. So that is amazing work for you all. I'm going to give you a clap. I'm not clapping for myself. Anyone that watched the State of the Union last night, never mind. Okay. So just to talk a little bit about some of the things we learned. The Giving Days really gave participating nonprofits the ability to raise visibility for your mission, acquire new donors, raise additional funds, and actively engage with the community. And I thought one of the most exciting things about the Giving Days were to see the hashtag iHeartOC all over Orange County, whether it was through social media, emails. We had a lot of print coverage. We had TV coverage in 2016. And for anybody that drove by Angel Stadium, we were on the big A outside the 57 freeway. So it was exciting to see all that input from the community. The other thing we learned is that it didn't matter if you were a large nonprofit or a small nonprofit. I think at the beginning, small nonprofits were like, well, we don't have the staff to do this. We're all volunteers. But I'm telling you, if they took the information that they learned from the training and they implemented it and they used social media and they used their board, they had amazing success. And I would say that some of the most successful campaigns happened from organizations that had budgets of less than $50,000. So it was really exciting to see that this can be so impactful for small organizations that could raise, half or 2/3 of their budget in one day through a giving campaign. In 2016, we also offered the opportunity for nonprofits to list a match opportunity on their individual giving page, and their donors could see how they were doing throughout the day of meeting their match. And what we saw when we surveyed donors after the event is that they really liked the opportunity to be able to participate in a match. They also, of course, liked the bonus pool and the prizes, and those were reasons that they gave that, some of the reasons that they gave that day versus other days of the year. And on the negative side, we did get some feedback from donors that they got a little bit overwhelmed by the number of emails that they received from the various nonprofits that they support in Orange County, and that's just going to happen when you have 418 nonprofits, all excited about the day. So that was the first 2 years, and as you know, last year we took a pause from Giving Day. We really needed to step back. Think about, what is the best way to move forward with supporting nonprofits with online fundraising and Giving Days, but in a way that works with the size of the organization we are and the work that goes into it, from being kind of the center of the whole thing. And so what we found is we're going to take a look at this case study of a pilot that was conducted last year called Help Them Home. And early last year, we heard from several of you. There were many of you that emailed us and said, hey, we really had great momentum from 2015 and 2016, and we want to continue that momentum. Is it okay if we hold our own Giving Day? Is it okay if we use the iHeartOC assets? And we said, sure, that's fine. And we thought, hey, we'd like to talk to a few of these nonprofits to find out why are they doing it, what's incenting them, how are they planning on pulling it off as we're thinking about how we're going to move forward with Giving Days. So we asked 3 nonprofits who had contacted us to see if they would like to come in and talk to us about what they were planning. And it was like right before they came in that we realized that all three of them were homeless service providers. So it was Thomas House, Families Forward, and Home Aid. And so we came in and we started talking, and they were all planning, I can't remember, I think it was beginning of March maybe? And but when we met, February, March. They were all planning individual giving days, their own giving days, toward the end of April. They all were incented by match opportunities, so they had donors that were willing to put up a match. And as we started talking, it kind of came about organically that they might actually do better if they combined together on one day to build momentum around the issue of homelessness versus each having their own day, garnering support for their organization. And so we thought, well, let's take a look and see if this helps them raise more than they wanted and they can meet their needs. So we engaged with our marketing partner, Reveille, and they came up with a brand called Help Them Home, and digital assets, and Brenda's going to come up in a minute and share with you a little bit about that. But these three organizations had absolutely amazing success. They raised almost $228,000 in one day, 24 hours. They all overachieved their original goals for the day. They all met their match. They all outperformed their 2016 iHeartOC Giving Day efforts. So when we saw that, we thought, wow, we can help nonprofits be successful in a different way, and let them really collaborate around a cause, and we'll get into more details. So you're going to hear from the nonprofits soon, but first I want to introduce Brenda Springer from Reveille, who's going to come up and talk about the brand and the assets that they developed. So welcome, Brenda.
Thanks, Carol. It's really weird to be looking at yourself standing up here. When Carol called me and invited me to meet with the three different organizations, I thought, wow, this is going to be really interesting. And my first thought is, are they going to be wanting to work together? And I've actually had several people ask me, hey, how did you get everyone to work together on the same issue for the same day? And I think that the answer is that collaborative giving is something that is here to stay, at least for the immediate future, and that people really want to rally behind a campaign and a cause together and know that they're part of something bigger, and I think the results speak to that. And so it was wonderful. You guys already collaborate many times together when you're focusing on the same issue, so why not collaborate in this way? And I'm just going to go ahead and move this slide because it's driving me crazy. So we first sat down and met with each of them together and really tried to understand how they currently marketed out to their donor groups. And we really played around with, do we go with iHeartOC, that kind of direction that we've been very successful in? Would it be iHeart Homeless? Would it be iHeartOC Homeless Giving Day? I mean, we've played around with a bunch of options because we do know the iHeartOC brand for giving was very strong. But it really didn't feel right to say iHeart Homeless in this context for raising money. We really wanted to go back and show what would you be giving to that would make a difference, and what would that impact be? And so we brainstormed, our agency came together and brainstormed several different directions. We did a lot of research on what were people seeing on the national landscape in terms of this issue, what were some of the success of the Giving Tuesdays and all the different things across the nation. We actually had a lot of that data already with our work with iHeartOC. And so we landed on this concept, Help Them Home, because it really immediately showed what you're giving to. You're really giving toward helping house people. And we knew that Help Them Home on its own could be a capital campaign for a nonprofit. It could be a campaign for a variety of different programs within the homeless issue. And so we felt very strongly that we needed to create campaign messaging so that people understood right away that it was a giving day for Orange County's homeless. We also felt that the success of iHeartOC was because it was local. And so making sure that Help Them Home felt local was key. So this was the campaign branding we landed on. The purple was I don't know if this stuff is just me geeking out on marketing stuff, but the purple was a kind of derived from the organization's colors, so it worked complementary with each of the organizations, but we also knew that purple was oftentimes a color associated with the cause. So that's the campaign lockup. And then what we knew from our work with iHeartOC was that the most powerful tool that you can use for these giving days is your e-newsletter and your digital assets. And so we put together a toolkit of assets that they could use in whatever manner that they wanted. And we created campaign messaging. There's some campaign messaging you can see on the graphics in this package here. But there was also a full key messaging for the campaign that could be weaved in so that there was consistency across each organization and how they implemented it. One thing that was very interesting is that we found that most of the organizations led with imagery of children, and we learned that from working with each of them, and that black and white imagery was oftentimes used as well. So we wanted to try to make sure that, because it was a test, that everyone felt comfortable using the branding and that it felt close enough to something that the organization would align with. I tell you all these details not because I just think it's cool, but because we want to make sure that you know that when we work with each of the different groups, we really listen and we really make sure that it works well for all the initiatives that you guys are trying to accomplish. So this is what the web banner and web ads looked like. And then here's, we go into kind of the social posts, and you can see here we introduced a social graphic that could be used. This was before the 20% algorithm killed us on Facebook on the timeline post. But you can see here that we introduced the 3 collaborative organizations in the graphics. All of the organizations could use that upper graphic here. Top left over here and top right over here, where they could swap out. Homemade has their logo in here, but they could swap out a specific one for the logo. So we make the graphics customizable and easy for you to use. And then your e-newsletter ad, these things could just get dropped into any kind of platform, whether you use MailChimp or Constant Contact. We design them to fit those specs, and we have a variety of offerings there. Number one, I think all your digital assets work together for success, but your e-newsletter is literally the driver of your online giving, and we saw that with iHeartOC. Everything working together works. So I don't want to say that don't do one thing, you need all 3, but your e-newsletter becomes your most important. So this is kind of what the package looked like that we gave, and then they had a few weeks to implement. And so here's just some examples of how they implemented. This is Families Forward. They were able to pick up the messaging and integrate it into their own, make it their own, and integrate it into their owned assets or their own channels. Here's Homemade. We also gave a horizontal lockup of the campaign logo. And then here's Thomas Shelter, and how they, just a few pieces that we were able to find off of that campaign. So a few things that we learned, and Carol's going to touch on this a little bit more, is while because it was new and it was a test, each of the organizations drove giving specifically to their actual giving page. As marketers, it would have been, we struggled with we wanted to create a lot of graphics and things that were collaborative, that showed the power of collective giving. And it was hard to do that when you didn't have one landing page. So they had phenomenal results of $228,000, but I feel like it could have been even more leveraged had they had a key and focused landing page, and where people could give and then select where they give. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit more, but we could have done more, especially with the foundation being able to leverage some of the marketing assets had we been able to drive people to one site. So that kind of helps me move it over to Carol, who's going to talk more about that. Thank you, guys.
So before we have the panel come up, you're next, giving your warning, just some of the lessons that we learned. So it was really obvious that the training from 2015 and 2016 really helped the nonprofits to plan and implement their Giving Day. So they had a lot of the tools and the work plan that we had put out the year before that they were able to understand the timing. And we actually put this together in a pretty quick amount of time. So where in 2016 when we did the social media training and the work plan training, that was 8 weeks before the event, and they actually condensed that and still had a very successful event. And for OCCF, by providing the brand and the toolkit, we were able to enable the nonprofits to have more success than if they had planned and implemented their own separate giving days, and I'm sure they'll talk to that a little bit. But the common theme really helped build momentum, and there was a lot of cheering between each other, and I know you can't really read all those slides, but a lot of them are like, hey, great job, Thomas House just got 5,000 more. So there was a lot of that camaraderie going on. And the match incentives, as I said, was a big incentive for the donors to give, and everybody overachieved their match and their goals. And as Brenda mentioned, one of the things that really was missing from the pilot was this common form. So if you remember with iHeartOC, you all had your own individual giving pages that you could direct people to, but there also was that main page where it was showing how we were doing as a community toward our goals, and we didn't have that during this pilot. So today you're going to hear from Justin about this fundraise technology that is an exciting and cost-effective way that we can provide that for you, which was missing from this pilot. So with that, I'm going to ask our panelists to come up and introduce Kathleen Otero, who's going to moderate our panel.
Great. Thank you, Carol. Oops. Oh, yes. Please invite Brenda to come and sit, too. No, we just assumed that Brenda would just stay with us through the entire session anyway. Thank you, Carol. And for those of you who have not been involved in Giving Day in the past several years with us, I just wanted to recognize Carol and her fearless leadership in creating and evolving Giving Day. She's really been the driver of this at the Community Foundation. And again, I'm Kathleen Otero, Vice President of Donor Relations and Programs at the Orange County Community Foundation. And it's my pleasure to introduce our illustrious panel here. So Kim Strom, who is Director of Marketing and Communications at Families Forward, Gina Scott, who is Director of Community Engagement at Home Aid Orange County, Natalie Julian, who is Executive Director of Thomas House Family Shelter, and then obviously Brenda Springer, who is joining our panel as well, bringing her marketing expertise that she just shared with you. And so my role today is really just to dial down a little bit into some of the individual experiences and reflections of the organizations that Carol shared with us and that Brenda walked through the marketing assets with us, and just ask a couple of questions. We're on a tight schedule today, so hopefully we may have some time to take a couple of questions in the middle as well from the audience. But I'm going to start with just a introductory question of what inspired you to host your own Giving Day? Like, why did you even want to do that as your own initiative, as an individual organization, before we even had this idea to bring you all together? And maybe if we can just sort of go down the line and start with Kim.
So is this on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Oh, good. Well, the very first reason is it was in the budget. I'm sure you can all relate. I'm sure you can all relate to that. But what we did when we looked at who did support us during Giving Day, it gave them a reason to give to us on that day, which was the prizes and the excitement and the messaging. But it was really people who already knew us and supported us. Yes, there were new donors, but there were also loyal donors. And it was off of our normal giving season, so because it wasn't in December and it wasn't around our gala, it was a good midpoint in the year. And also, before we decided to do our own Giving Day, we went back to the board. So one thing I would say is, for this to be successful, you have to have complete buy-in from your board, or at least a major donor who would support it, almost like a sponsor or a set of major donors. And they were skeptical the first year of the iHeart Giving, but they were very competitive about the prizes, and that was a big driver for our success. And when they saw that if you put prizes out there, people will come, they said, okay, so we proposed to them to put out a match in January, and when the board agreed, right after our gala in September and our December year end, they agreed in September to put up a match. We said, well, let's go and see if the donors will respond to this match. It was also one of the first times that I'm aware of that Families Forward put together a match like that, and it was to replicate the prize scenario. And of course, I told Carol, because I wanted advice to be successful, and so I was happy to be invited in for the pilot.
Great, thank you.
Great, and I would echo what Kim said. It was in the budget, and so it was something that we were going to do anyway. But once you build momentum with any fundraising campaign, as we know, you want to keep going with it. And so we had such great success. The first year we were top dog, woohoo! We raised the most money, which was amazing for us. And we were just so successful that we wanted to keep going with it. And so I don't think that you ever want to stop a fundraising campaign. April's a great time to start your annual campaign. I'm sure none of us have anything else going on at that time of year. And so it was just really building on that momentum that we had started.
And similar for us to both of your answers, we hadn't really done any kind of fundraiser at that time of year, at least not an appeal. And so the first time we did iHeartOC, we had, a small return, which was still exciting for us. And we doubled it that second year. And so we didn't want to stop either. We just really felt like that momentum was there. And if we had kind of a longer strategy session and figuring out how to implement it, that we could be even more successful. So we reached out to Orange County Community Foundation to see if they could provide technical assistance, and the rest is history.
Great, thank you. So what I'm hearing is obviously continuing the momentum. It's already written into the budget, so you're sort of counting on it as a revenue source, but also another touch point opportunity for your key donors and for potentially engaging new donors that doesn't conflict with one of your other primary fundraising opportunities.
I thought of one more thing. There was pretty low risk because we did it strictly online. So it was, there was no print associated with ours. So it was e-blast out to our, we have, several thousand names in our constant contact database with good open and click-through rates, and, not as great on the social media, but we try. And the board participation, so there was pretty low risk.
Sure, all upside, yeah. No hard costs that you're putting out front anyway. Okay, great, thank you. So after we had this grand idea together collectively of building a cohesive campaign, what did you see, why did you decide to do that? Like, what did you see as the benefit of building a campaign together as opposed to pursuing, as you had originally intended, your individual organizational fundraising campaigns?
For me, Thomas House is a pretty small organization, and there is no marketing person. That would be me. So I don't have marketing background. I just, do the best I can. So the opportunity to work with a team that could actually help us design the materials and really come up with a comprehensive way to communicate with our donors was a no-brainer. Like, of course, I wanted to be a part of that. And separately, whenever we can partner as service providers to help our cause, I think that's just an amazing opportunity. And so we wanted to be a part of that.
The same for HomeAid. Thomas House and Families Forward have been longtime partners of HomeAid's for almost 30 years. And so it made perfect sense for us to be able to collaborate on a campaign calling Help Them Home. That's what we do. We partner anyway. And so for us, it was a blessing that we were able to get that support from OCCF and the great marketing that Reveille has, and to really combine forces. I say we have days like this. I'm going to propose that we have Arts Day and Helping the Homeless Day, and why don't we all collaborate together and see if we can't raise more money that way.
Why not?
She just did the plug for us.
Any nonprofit marketing only works if you have very strong storytelling and consistent brand and brand identity. So we're very lucky at Families Forward. We have a quality brand, but by linking with these other two organizations that also have a very good quality brand, and the Community Foundation, Oh, and the Community Foundation. Sorry, I didn't do well with the microphone. I got reprimanded. And the Community Foundation. Our ability to tell the story, the storytelling, pulling at the heartstrings was so much stronger with the assets that Reveille created. So they really came up with fantastic taglines. And what was funny is the three of us had very, very similar wording, but not identical. And really, it was a combination of all three of us, and pulling out the essence of the message is what they really did. But it went straight to the heart, and even help them home. It seems so simple now that we all see it, and we're like, yeah, that's great, help them home. That's like a great idea. So who couldn't rally behind helping people off the street and into a home?
Okay.
Yeah, Kim, thanks for I just remembered that. You guys, we received all the different Word documents that you had already established, and as we were going through it, it was amazing the similarity of it. And so truly, it was a reflection of the heart and soul of each of the organizations. And so it made it quite easy to be able to extract the heart, because there was a lot in it. And I think that is the benefit of being focused on the cause or the issue that you are focusing on, is that you guys are all in a service capacity, and it was quite enjoyable and easy to do, because you've done a lot of the heavy lifting.
I also found that the creative sessions we had together, the brainstorming, went back and helped me back in the rest of my work and back at the agency, that the collaboration between the three of us and Reveille and the Community Foundation had an impact on other parts of our work throughout the year. Just continued to improve our marketing.
That's great.
Great. So speaking of throughout the year, what are your plans for this year?
Giving Day.
How do you plan to, are you guys going to work together again? Is that your idea? What are your thoughts for kind of leveraging what you did last year and thinking through ahead to this year?
What are your plans this year? For us, we're absolutely going to have a Giving Day. We would love the partnership again. Even more people join. But we're definitely going to be doing something in April, we hope. And for Homemade, we actually plan our board meeting around this. So one of the strategic things that we have done is we get our board rallied on this Giving Day. And if it wasn't already on our planned board meeting day, we changed the meeting day last year. So we could really have that leadership all in one room and really rallying around it. So not to not answer your question, but what are your plans?
So one of the exciting things at Families Forward is we've actually, over the past year, really moved forward in collaboration with family homelessness and something called the A2 Family Collaborative. And we've already introduced the concept to the collaborative, and right now there are 11 family-serving agencies in the homeless sector that are interested. And I had planned to talk to my two friends again and pick a date in April, and whether or not the Community Foundation went forward, we would go forward again. I also think that the Help Them Home assets and taglines are very reusable. I don't see the need to change them. I think the theme is sort of pure and constant. It wasn't, it's evergreen. It has a long shelf life. Of course, we'll freshen it up with some things, but I think we can. There was a lot of work done in about 4 weeks last year that I think we can just leverage again. So we're a little bit relaxed about the date because, hey, it's January 31st.
You're ahead of the game. Natalie, did you have any thoughts?
Yeah, same for me. We haven't talked too much about it yet, but we definitely plan to do a Giving Day again. And, the more organizations that we can get involved that are like-minded to help support the effort, I think that would be great.
Okay. Well, go ahead if you had another question.
We also liked and shared everything each other did. Mm-hmm. And so it created a little firestorm. I think that the recipients know that it's only one day, so there is a lot of messaging in that one day. But we definitely liked and shared everything each other did and congratulated each other along the way.
Yeah, great. Well, I think we have time for some questions, so would love to leave it open, open it up to the audience here. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to? Go ahead, here. Oh, I think you might want to try and see if the microphone in your seat works. Yeah, you think you...
I don't even know how that works.
Yeah. So any matching done by the Orange County Community Foundation, that is not our intention for this year. Yeah, is that we would not be offering the bonus pool, largely because as we saw the overall funds that were raised increase, then the proportionate percentage bonus became even more reduced and reduced and reduced. So if we continue to exceed our goals in fundraising each year, then the bonus match pool would be less of an impact for any one individual organization. So I'm going to pause. I'm really looking for questions for the panelists on their experiences, and Carol is going to come back up and share about what our overall plans are. So if you have thoughts for the panelists in particular. Let me go over here.
So as you got people excited and they came in, where they go into each of your individual sites and interview each individually, is that through the OCCF, or did they go to your own online giving campaigns?
So we definitely operated it separately. So it was common messaging, individual fundraising. So if they clicked on my email message, it went to my website and my online donation. And the one thing we were not able to do was real-time reporting back of where we were, but what we did was midday updates in just, we calculated it and blasted out. Now, if I shared Home Aids and somebody clicked through on Home Aids, they would give to Home Aid. But I want to raise money for homelessness, so I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and I'll just jump in. This was the hardest part for me because I knew the foundation wanted to be able to support and push it out through social, but they would have to support it and push it out 3 times to be able to give equal play to each of those links. Same with our agency, we like to be able to share through social, and I think the same for individuals who would probably be more likely to say, hey, get rallied behind this, but they would want to give maybe fair play to the campaign. It made it very hard for that kind of, crowdsourcing is the wrong word, but that kind of crowd vibe of sharing is because you would have to drive it to one organization's page rather than the campaign page. So it really was a hindrance for people like me and organizations like the foundation that wanted to get behind it.
Yeah. And it was a challenge that I think we have a potential solution this year that we're hoping to address.
I found that even though that was a challenge, we still, I think all 3 of us still identified that new donors were donating just because of the marketing strategies that we came up with, and thanks to Reveille and the mix of e-blasts and social media posts, and just really getting that word out there, because we did information all month leading up to it, and we did have quite a few new donors, so that was really great to see.
I would also say we all went into this as a pilot, and we were already planning to do individual giving days. And so the fact that we had joint marketing with individual donations was okay. And we wanted to help the community foundation explore this concept. And so we were willing to, have this like less than perfect scenario in a very short period of time to see if we could find a new way to do Giving Day in Orange County.
All right, other questions? Go ahead.
One of the slides earlier, one of the bottom negative comments was the amount of emails that donors were getting. Were you pretty strategic about how you were reaching out through your own social media platforms, or were you all just going at it based on your own calendars and schedules?
So we each did our own e-blasting to our own lists, and unless someone is on all our lists, then they would get it. So if somebody was on all 3 lists, they would get it. So we did not coordinate that, but we were very strategic. So exactly 2 weeks before, we said 2 weeks is Giving Day, and exactly 1 week before, we said 1 week is Giving Day, and then that morning, very bright and early, we said it's Giving Day. And then we chose very specific times to give updates, and then in the next morning we thanked everybody. So there was And so we were very explicit about choosing that communication path, but it was only to our list. And we didn't buy a list, and we didn't use their list, we didn't share lists.
And I think the frequency was different for each organization. Like I mentioned, even though they helped develop the materials, it's still me having to implement it on my end. So I might have done it a little bit less often than an organization that had a dedicated marketing person. So we did still have to manage, how frequently we decided to communicate, whether it was e-blasts or social media. But definitely the day of was actually kind of fun, monitoring the activity and trying to figure out how to pump up the giving. I had a little bit of an added struggle of being on a field trip with my son that day, so it was extra exciting, but it was really great to be able to, like they said earlier, to cross-post and really share the successes that the other organizations were having. A lot of our donors, called that out as something that they thought was pretty cool, to be able to see that we were working together and, sharing that effort.
I'll just say, too, just in my experience with e-newsletter marketing, everybody is always going to complain, or not everybody, quite a bit of people complain about e-newsletter marketing. They get too many emails from a brand, that kind of thing. But how many of you participated in Giving Tuesday? Yeah, you can imagine my inbox. I mean, it was flooded with updates from, because I'm members of many of your email addresses. But for me, I didn't mind because it was an awareness for me of, I want to get on, I want to get involved, I want to go to the organizations that I love and give today and help their campaign be successful. So it is kind of one of those things you're just never going to solve or make everybody happy, but I think it is, by flooding that, you remind people that there is an opportunity to get behind something. So I don't think it's a negative.
Okay. Do we have another question up here?
Our overall budget at Homemade is just over $1 million annually, and our giving day was about $75,000. And so individual giving overall is well over $100,000, but just for that day, it's 75.
And last year, our budget was $875, and we had hoped to make about $50,000 from the giving day, and we made $75,000.
We have pretty substantial government and private grants, so our budget is closer to $4 million, and our giving day was about $65,000.
One more question over here. We have one up on the top.
From a donor's perspective, do you guys see any confusion on their part, or is it clear it's joint messaging, funds go on for everyone?
It's a great question. We didn't see any confusion. I think from Homemade's perspective, we're working and collaborating with other nonprofits all of the time. We've developed housing and support with other services, both Families Forward and Thomas House. So for us, we didn't see any confusion.
And I think our first email for all of us kind of teed it up that, we explained that was the purpose, that we were all working together. So we didn't have anyone complain about that.
And I have just one last question. So we noticed that during our overall giving day that having a secured match opportunity created that enthusiasm for other donors to contribute. How difficult was it for you to identify and secure the match donors that you utilized through this Giving Day campaign last year?
So we used our board leadership to create a board challenge and to rally around a Giving Day and to see if we could be successful on our own, and they decided that was worth doing.
Okay.
Because we weren't sure exactly how successful we were going to be, I didn't want to ask for too much in a match because, nothing like not hitting your match goal. So we asked 3 of our donors who we felt pretty strongly would support it, and we got 2 to do a $10,000 match and a third to do $7,500 match. And all 3 of them said yes with the first ask, so it really wasn't that difficult.
Yeah, it was easy for us to find that one donor that thinks this is fun, that actually was the one that was giving on the first year at midnight because he wanted to be that first person so he could get the bonus prize. And so it was easy for us to go out to that person and say, hey, we're thinking that you would like this idea and help us design it.
Great. Well, thank you. Well, I want to thank our panelists for participating and sharing their knowledge today. Oh, sorry. And as we transition, we should have some maybe time for additional questions as well. So thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Can I get this screen? Oh, gosh, it's like magic. Okay, so you heard about the pilot, and now let's talk about how we're going to roll this out for all the nonprofits here in Orange County that would like to participate in a collaborative giving day. So we're going to go ahead and unpack the new model. Okay, so we had a question up here about, well, how do I collaborate? How do I know who to work with? That type of a thing. So the idea of this is that nonprofits that are focused on the same causes or located in the same geographic area can band together to host their own giving day on a date of their own choosing. So it doesn't have to be in April. It can be, we foresee these being throughout the year. Collaboration could be based on a similar cause like arts, education, veterans. Maybe all the Boys and Girls Clubs of Orange County get together and they do a giving day on one day. It could also be by geography, or perhaps there's a group of nonprofits that are collaborating in another way. So it could be around aging, maybe organizations that are providing services in a certain geographical area, around a certain cause. So it's really up to you how you want to collaborate. And I'm going to get to this, but I just want to answer your question because it's on top of mind. But how can you find other organizations? So for the homeless providers, they have a lot of collaborating that they do anyway. So they're already in touch. So if you're involved in a group around your cause, to just propose the idea to them. Also, Orange County Nonprofit Central, the database that most of you should have updated profiles on, hopefully, is a great way to do a search and find other organizations that are either, you can do a geography search and you could do a word search. So if you're in Anaheim, you could put in Anaheim. You can look by area, you can look at hunger, you can look at workforce development. That's a great tool to find other organizations. And we have the iHeartOC Giving Day learning community on Facebook. So we're going to relaunch that, and we'll be sending all this information out. So that's a great way to connect. You can put a post on Facebook and connect with some other organizations. But really, obviously, you choose a unique day and time. You work together to build momentum around a cause. And I hope that you came away from learning about the pilot seeing that having people band together around a cause and a brand that, tugs at the heart or gets at the issue is much more effective than, give to me, I'm Families Forward, or I'm Homemade, or I'm Thomas House. So the Orange County Community Foundation is going to provide seed funding for up to 12 giving days, and that's going to support a few things. It's going to support the branding and proven marketing tools that we gave you a sample of, and working with our partner Reveille to develop those. It's also going to provide, and I'll get into this in a minute in some more detail, some social media support for you. And then, as we mentioned, the nonprofits can use your own method to collect donations, or you can come together on a united platform, and you're going to hear just in a few minutes from one such platform that we think is a fantastic platform called Fundraise, where you could build that excitement and have one place where you're sending everybody. So in terms of OCCF, we're really going to be providing support in 3 areas. The first is the funding. So I talked about the fact that we will have some seed funding for branding and marketing tools. The second thing is training. We are going to have the opportunity to provide training for nonprofits here in Orange County around online fundraising, around giving days, things like that. And we're going to go over some topics in a little bit. And when we follow up with you, we'll ask you to rank the topics that we've thought of and also give us other ideas, and we'll be providing opportunities for additional trainings throughout the year. They could be a webinar, or they could be, come together and learn about a topic. And then the third area is social media. So we are going to also have some funding for the collaborative giving days to support paid social media ads for like web click ads and boosted content for your collaborative giving day, as well as support from the Community Foundation to do social media announcements through our social media channels. And we're going to talk about how you can get involved soon, but just to go on a little bit about the support that Reveille is going to provide. So once a collaborative giving day has been approved by the Community Foundation, we'll engage Reveille, and they'll work with the Giving Day organizers to develop a common brand and messaging, a campaign logo, customizable digital assets that you can plug in your information, and a toolkit on how to use it. So very similar to what we did before if you participated in the iHeartOC Giving Day with instructions on, you know, how do you use a web banner and all that kind of stuff. I'm not a marketing person, so I don't know. But anyway, you know, all that type of stuff, you're still going to have that support. It's just, it's coming from a partnership between the Community Foundation and Reveille. It's going to be up to the lead organizer and the planning group to roll out the assets to the rest of your participating nonprofits. So, for instance, with the homeless providers, they're looking at already having a dozen nonprofits that would be involved. We wouldn't roll it out to everybody. We would roll it out to the planning group, and it would be their responsibility to share all the assets and everything with the rest of the group. So that is the support we're going to have from Reveille. And then the technology question about a platform is that we know that nonprofits can really benefit from a common technology, like we provided for the iHeartOC. So we have come to learn about Fundraise. They actually were a sponsor for our 2016 Giving Day before they actually, I think, were even up and going with their technology. But this is a really fantastic platform that you can use should your Giving Day want to have a common platform. It's going to allow you to build excitement around the day, track fundraising real time, just like we had, if you remember, on the iHeartOC, and we have the banner on top. You're going to have that same capability. And then the funds are going to be distributed directly to each participating nonprofit. So if you remember, when the Community Foundation was doing that, you know, it took us quite a while to do all the math to take all the money that came in and look at the fees and the prizes and things like that. I think this will be a much quicker turnaround in terms of your nonprofit being able to receive your funds. It's also a very cost-effective tool. It's 2% to use the platform and 2.2% for credit card processing, no matter which vendor. Is that correct, Justin? Yeah. Yeah? It doesn't matter if it's Visa or, yeah. So we think that's quite cost effective. Fundraise is going to build the homepage for the collaborative giving days from the digital assets that are developed by Reveille. So and you're going to see a sample of this in just a minute. And then the nonprofits each can go in and register, and then you upload your organization's information for your individual page. So you're going to have the capability, just like you did with iHeartOC, to direct people to your own page, but also people that come in that learn about it, or you want to tell people how the campaign's doing it, you can send them to the front page and they'll see all the participating nonprofits. Fundraise is also going to run social ads to support the giving days that are using their platform, and they also will provide up to $10,000 in bonus pools for each giving day that's launched through their technology. The actual amount and details are going to be determined based on your collaborative fundraising goals. So we'll get into the weeds a little bit later on that. Now I'd like to invite Justin up to give a demonstration of the platform Fundraise.
Okay. I don't see it.
I'm right-handed.
Oh, I can. Oh, it's right here.
Yeah.
There it is. Where's it at, though?
Right at the bottom, it says under construction.
Under construction.
Keep going down. Over. No.
Sorry. Ah, beautiful. Okay, hey everyone, my name is Justin Wheeler. I'm founder and CEO at Fundraise, and thank you for, well, actually didn't really have anything to do with us being here today, so but thank you for coming, is really what I meant to say. Quickly before I jump into this, prior to starting Fundraise, spent 10 years working in the nonprofit space. I was on the founding team of 2 different nonprofits, and between those 2 nonprofits, we raised about $35 million online, just in a matter of a few years. Since launching Fundraise, we've helped nonprofits raise almost $50 million online in the last 18 months. And so this is something that I'm extremely passionate about, and the reason why I stepped out of the day-to-day of nonprofit, because I believe every nonprofit organization has the ability to raise money online. And not only has the ability, but I also believe every nonprofit needs to be raising money online. The great thing about online fundraising is your donors are most likely, and I put myself in this in this case, is our donors are most likely 10 years ahead of you, right? We sometimes can have this attitude towards technology that we don't have the right people on our team, we don't have enough resources, but research shows that the #1 reason why people aren't giving online, why you're probably missing out on gifts online, is because the process is incredibly difficult, complicated, right? And that's one of the other reasons why I started Fundraise. How many people here in the last week have bought something off of Amazon? Like almost everyone, right? Amazon has made it incredibly easy to buy stuff, to buy anything. It's the first place you go if you need to buy something. Giving should be just as easy, right? When a donor wants to give, when a donor wants to get involved, it shouldn't be a complicated process. They shouldn't have to spend 5 minutes trying to find that donation button and then spend another 10 minutes trying to fill out the information to actually make the donation, and then for it not to even work on mobile altogether. And so Fundraise has seen these challenges and have built a platform around it. Before I jump into the actual site here, we're basically an all-in-one solution. We provide a CRM, we provide email marketing, donor support, engagement, workflows, campaign sites, peer-to-peer campaigns, crowdfunding campaigns, just individual giving forms, all sorts of tools. And so we're excited to show you a campaign site that we mocked up from last year, just to kind of give everyone an idea of what this could look like. And this is extremely actually easy to launch. And so if you're to click on a social media ad or an email post about the Help Them Home campaign, ideally it would take them to this landing page where it's essentially the landing page for the campaign, right? And the content, this is again just a mock-up, and so the content can be whatever we want it to be. But you land on the page, you see what is our goal for the day. Showcasing goals has the ability to increase donations on giving days by over 50%. So having a goal on your page, a goal that you can actually update live. So if you hit your goal in the first 2 hours, you should update it, and you should update it 3 or 4 times. That actually gives donors more reason to give more than maybe what they were thinking when they clicked on the social media ad. So actually being able to show your goal and get that buy-in is extremely important. And then as you start to scroll down, you can see who's a part of the campaign, which organizations are actually raising money on this particular giving day. And you can click on any one of them to actually launch their own page. And this could be further customized. It's just all sample copy and images, but you would be able to see, okay, how many donors have we driven to the campaign? How much has our organization actually raised? From the home page, you can add to the giving form. Under donate, you can add like an allocation so the donor can actually choose which organization they want to donate to today, if that was something that was important. And so all this information is easy to capture. You can also have here you can write live blog updates. Also can see recent donors to the campaign, top donors to the campaign, and so forth. And so it turns this idea of giving days more into a campaign, something donors expect, something they want to see. Giving Tuesday is obviously an example of a very successful day that almost every nonprofit rallies behind. And what you see statistically on Giving Tuesday is that oftentimes a donor will come back. If you have a specific goal and you actually have created a campaign around the day, your donor will donate more than once to your actual organization on that day. And the other thing I think is far more interesting, Achieve, which is an amazing think tank out of DC that does a lot of millennial-based fundraising, has actually found that individual, 60% of your donor base will give above and beyond on giving days, right? Whether it's Giving Tuesday or your own giving days. And so I think that if one of the challenge or fears you have to overcome, maybe on the board level or on the organizational level, is donor fatigue. We can't ask our donors to do too much. Giving days are kind of play outside of the normal rules of giving. It doesn't feel like another ask for something you've been asking all year round. This is particularly something different. It's a day where you're rallying with other organizations that actually that's more, not that, a single organization can't be cause-based, but in this case in particular, it's a beautiful example of attracting all sorts of people who care about homelessness, not maybe just one of the angles that your organization may take or approach to it. And so you have the ability to attract new donors. And also, the last thing I'll say, why Giving Days make so much sense, especially doing them together, is because of the press coverage that you could potentially get in Orange County, right? If you have 100 organizations rallying together to end homelessness, that's going to make much more attention with the media than one single organization trying to raise money saying they were trying to end homelessness. So the collaborative effort of a Giving Day also just gives you a lot of opportunities to actually get free PR and attention to your campaign that you wouldn't be able to drive on your own. On the back end, how this all works, when the campaign is done, or even in real time for that matter, you'd be able to log in and have access to the data that's coming in to your organization, the donors that are giving. Another feature that the Fundraise platform offers is whenever someone gives, we actually do a fair amount of data mining on the donor. And this is incredibly important in fundraising, right? Specifically when people give online, they're not giving at full capacity. A lot of you probably have high capacity donors giving to you that maybe have never made a major contribution, but they've given maybe $100 online. And so our tools help you identify who those potential major donors are. So we run wealth screenings to help find out the giving capacity, the giving history of a donor, the net worth, real estate value, and then also pull in social media information, demographic information. And so at the end of the campaign, you're not just walking away with tens of thousands of dollars. You're actually walking away with a new set of donors that have much more information on them, their demographic information and so forth, that you can use to work into your year-end campaigns and so forth. And so all of that is baked into this platform. And so, outside of OCCF, you also can launch Giving Days or not Giving Days, giving campaigns. Organizations, our customers have used specifically this campaign site feature for their year-end annual campaigns, direct mail campaigns, and so forth. It gives you, there's no code necessary to build what we're showing you today. It's all just very easy drag and drop type of images. And so, yeah, we're excited to talk with you. Some of my team members are here today as well. We have Crystal and Jenny and CJ. If you have any questions about Fundraise and how we can help with you on this initiative in particular with OCCF, we're really excited. We're excited to be giving away money this year as well. We really believe in nonprofits. The majority of our team spent their careers in nonprofits before coming to Fundraise. And so we're really just excited to put a splash on the map here in Orange County around Giving Days. And we hope everyone in the room is excited and is ready for an amazing 2018. Thank you so much.
All right, let's see if I can do this. Oh my gosh, I can't see that far. Where's slideshow?
Can I ask a question about
Can you hold, who has a question? Is it about the, we're going to take questions, if it's okay, I'm going to go through how to get involved, and then anybody can answer questions. Is that okay? Okay. All right, I'm back on the right page. Okay, well, I'm excited. Look at what an incredible tool, and especially excited about some of the back-end management that we didn't have with our tool that we provided to you for iHeartOC. So there's a lot of power in what they can do, and they're located in Long Beach, and so this is a great opportunity, but lives in Orange County, so a great opportunity to be able to help the nonprofits in our community. I told you about some additional training opportunities. So through our partnership with Fundraise and Reveille, we have the opportunity to provide some additional training this year. Some of the training topics that we're looking at are how to grow your online revenue, how to use Facebook ads to target your donor base, how to build a strong recurring donor program, how to beat donor churn, and the magic of year-end fundraising. So when we send out our follow-up email, we're going to do a little Survey Monkey, and we'd love to know what you feel about these and kind of rank them in the order that you'd be interested in receiving training. And then we will develop the trainings based on your feedback so that we're giving you what you need. If you have an idea that's not one of these, we'll also give you the opportunity to give us some ideas, and we'll see if we can implement them. So we're really excited about that. Okay, so we've kind of introduced it. Let's talk about how do we do this? Okay, so in order to participate in one of the funded giving days, you just need to partner with at least 3 nonprofits. Now, I know all of you have at least 3 nonprofit or 2 nonprofit friends that you can partner with. Again, focused on similar interests, causes, some way that you collaborate together, geography. And you're going to need to identify one lead organization. So that organization is going to be the organization that is in communication with the Community Foundation about getting approval for the Giving Day. And then we'd also like you to have a steering committee of at least 2 other individuals. So there's kind of a planning committee, and then you have all the participating nonprofits. We're going to ask you to complete a letter of intent and return it to the Community Foundation. I'm going to show you a sample of what that looks like in a minute. We're going to accept the LOIs on a rolling basis each quarter. And the first deadline is March 1st, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait till March 1st. If if you're thinking of doing an April Giving Day, then you might want to think about getting together with some friends and putting an LOI together. But we'll be doing them every quarter. We don't see the need for everybody to rush and do it in April. Do it when it makes sense for your group and your organization. And then we will respond to your LOI within 2 weeks of you getting it to us. And we'll let you know, yay, you're approved, or hey, have you thought about this? Maybe we get a couple LOIs where it makes sense to maybe put them together. We might suggest that the 2 groups get together. So let's talk a little bit about one of the requirements that we had in the past, which was to have an up-to-date and current Nonprofit Central profile. We asked this because we use Nonprofit Central day in and day out. We use it with our donors to share with them information about the amazing nonprofits in our community. We also use it for all of our competitive grant programs. So in order to participate in a competitive grant program with the Community Foundation, you have to have a current Nonprofit Central profile. Other foundations also use Nonprofit Central to help them in their grant making. So one of the requirements to receive seed funding for a collaborative giving day is that your organization has to have a current Nonprofit Central profile. If you're not sure about your status, you can email us at ocnonprofitcentral@oc-cf.org, and we'll let you know if you are current or out of date. It's important to you too. You should be using your Nonprofit Central profile to help you market your organization. So let's take a look at the LOI. It's a 1-page LOI. We want to make this as simple as possible. So on the top, you just put your sector, your geographic area. Give us a few dates that you're thinking of, maybe like a first, second, third, and then the lead nonprofit, steering committee members. And then we'd like to know, at least at the beginning, it doesn't have to be everybody that's going to participate, but who do you have around the table at this point that is going to participate? Again, a minimum of 3. We'd like to know if they have a match opportunity, and if so, what is that match amount? And we'd like to know what their fundraising goal is. So we want to know that you're vested in this, that you're putting some thought into this. So name of the organization, yes or no on the match opportunity, and if they have one, how much, and what the fundraising goal is. And then we're going to ask you just a couple questions. The first one is to provide us, knowing your sector, knowing your geography, let's say it's Laguna Beach or whatever, give us just a few ideas, 1 to 3 ideas of a common theme idea that you think might work for you. We'll then take that and work with Reveille if the Giving Day is approved, and then we'll build your theme around one of your ideas. And then the last question is just using some of your knowledge from the first 2 years of Giving Days, share some ideas on how your cohort will come together, how they're going to use the common theme to get the word out to increase your success. And that's it. So it's not, a big proposal. We just want to hear your ideas. And again, we'll get back to you within 2 weeks. So just to wrap it up, we are inviting all nonprofits to participate. first of all, in future training opportunities. Even if you decide, this Giving Day thing's not for me, we really hope that you'll take advantage of the training opportunities because as Justin said, and I think we've been saying since we launched iHeartOC, online fundraising is not going away, and especially as the millennials are aging, that is the way they do everything. I know I have 2 young adult kids, and what they can do on their phone is amazing to me. So it's not going away. It's important that as strong nonprofits that we understand the importance of that and that we use online fundraising to our benefit to build our capacity and work toward our mission. Also, again, of course, you can get together with other nonprofits and submit the LOI for a seed-funded collaborative day. And as I said, if you're looking for ideas, go to Nonprofit Central, go to the Giving Day page, call us. You can reach out to Austin or Tiffany or myself or Kathleen, and we're happy to give you some ideas of some groups you might be able to collaborate with. And the last thing I want to say is even if you don't participate in a seed-funded day, you can still host your own Giving Day using the tools provided, partnering with Fundraise, and I know that you'll be successful. So we're, again, super excited about the new model. We know it's different. We know this is a big change for you, but seeing the success of what we were able to do with 3 organizations, we believe that through these days that your community, our nonprofits here in Orange County can raise even more than we did when we had one countywide Giving Day, and we feel pretty confident in that. So with that, I'm going to ask Kathleen to come up with me, and if you two want to come up and grab a mic, and we'll take questions. And I know I had one right here for the platform.
Yeah, I have to ask a kind of question about how secure is your check credit card processing?
Yeah, we're fully PCI compliant. So the actual credit card information is never actually hits the database. And then also giving forms are the highest level of encryption as well.
I think the wealth identification tool is really great. Small organizations can afford to get that. But my question is for the group that I think that's going to apply. They're advocacy groups. They're very youth-driven, which means that they use social media, video, PDs, and the top to engage their audience into social change. My question is, how robust is your platform for allowing that and turning that? Because it's not talking about a charitable giving in terms of operation, but it's similar in a way to the homeland fraud.
Right.
In terms of like, say, schools not present or
Yeah.
those kinds of
So all like major social media platforms have like are integrated within like campaign sites in particular. So you can preload all of your social media information into a given campaign, and so as you share it, as your supporters and donors share it, it's all branded with the campaign itself, and so it's all very easily managed from the actual platform.
How many times does that go out to your list? How many times does it go out? In cases that video go out these days?
That's dependent on the organization, correct?
Yeah, that would be controlled. I mean, there are automated work like email flows you can create, and they're paced, and you can create the pacing is already created so that emails aren't going out on the same day. It's like every 3 days or so forth. And so as you jump into the platform, you can actually build different email streams like that.
I see a question right here. Can you restate the question? I don't think people.
Yeah. So first question was like integrations with like email marketing, other email marketing clients. Yeah. And so MailChimp in particular, we have a really robust integration. Basically, everything in the Fundraise platform is integrated instantly into your MailChimp account. Also, several other marketing platforms we're also integrated with. And then in terms of developer-friendly, yes, very developer-friendly. We have authenticated APIs that you can use to pull data into your local database or proprietary database. We also have, like with the campaign sites in particular, we do have like a developer version where you have access to the header code of every campaign site, HTML, CSS of every campaign site. So you can actually build it from the ground up inside Fundraise as well. So it's a full CMS platform on top of just kind of drag and drop modules.
Other questions? I see one right here. Yeah. Great question.
Yeah, so in terms of the fundraise capabilities, and yes, like that's possible. Donor can come on, make a donation, and it would just have no allocation to any particular nonprofit. And then at the end of the campaign, that would just be calculated. Obviously, any non-allocated donations would be calculated equally to organizations. And so the homepage progress bar is like overall what has everyone given to every cause or every organization and or just to the campaign in general. And then on the back end, you'd be able to see the reporting on, which organization got raised how much and how many general donations were there or unallocated donations and so forth.
Question down here?
Do all the organizations or only the lead organization need to have an updated nonprofit central profile?
We would like all of the organizations to have an updated nonprofit central profile. No, but if we can work with you on that, but it would be required. We just know that it's very important to the Community Foundation. It is a tool that is so widely used, and keeping it current is important. So it's okay if they know they need to do it as long as they do it. We're not, yes.
I would just say that there's multiple opportunities, again, to connect with Fundraise and Reveille sort of independently, or if you have your own PR company that you work with, we're happy to make connections, and if organizations want to have that opportunity to partner with other organizations that we've been working with to do that.
Yeah, you can. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
No, we'll cover it. We'd like to see match opportunities because we've seen that is incredibly successful. So that's why it's part of the LOI. So maybe, let's say you have 6 organizations that are applying and one doesn't have a match opportunity. You could just write on the LOI looking for a match opportunity. But I will tell you that if you have a match opportunity, if we got a group that everybody has a match opportunity and then a group that nobody has a match opportunity, we're more likely to fund the one, if it makes sense, and because we know it's going to help you be successful.
One thing I'd follow up on that is, everyone go through the process, apply through OCCF. For some reason, you get rejected, which I don't think you will. But if your idea does, you could go fundraise.io. There's no D. It's like fun and fundraise. Fundraise.io. And you can sign up. We also, outside of OCCF, we do have a company foundation, and we do provide other matching opportunities. But really, the focus is let's blow up Orange County with these giving days through OCCF, and that's really the initiative and why we're here. But a lot of opportunities to use Fundraise outside of a single giving day, because you should do more than one giving day.
And just to clarify, the seed funding is really more about the support for the marketing assets and some of the other social media tools. This is not a seed funding for covering the costs to do this campaign across a multiple collaborative organizational online fundraising campaign, just to be clear.
In the blue? The matching opportunities should be shown on your page, and I believe that you'll have the capability to show how you're doing against that match and share it through social media and things like that. Kim?
How are you going to manage the scheduling of 12? You have this idea of like one a month, so that they're not on top of each other?
Yeah.
You would have one and two at the same
That's a great question, and we don't know how the applications are going to come in. As I said, that's kind of why we're doing it on a rolling basis. It's not going to make sense if everybody applies and it's for April, because we can't do that to our friends at Reveille.
Thank you.
Or Fundraise.
I could do it though.
So I think it really is a matter of getting together and figuring out within the group, what time of the year makes sense. And, if it doesn't happen this year, we could look at funding it next year. But we're not saying we're going to do one a month. We just don't know how they're going to come across. This is new. So there might be a couple in a month, but we're not going to fund 4 in a month. That doesn't make any sense. So we might say, hey, we like your idea, but why don't you think about May?
Yeah, so your organization can have a profile on the campaign site and show that feature, and then you can actually have individuals from your organization sign up as individuals to fundraise on that giving day. So you're basically broadening the opportunities to raise more money, and they'd have their own page tied specifically to your organization, and everything that they raise would be allocated towards your progress bar as an organization.
So you
can do that.
Yeah, you can see it's a much richer tool than what we had for iHeartOC. So that's pretty cool. So you got some people that want to go out and be your champions. It will then all roll up to your campaign.
Not through going through OCCF. That's the only cost involved with OCCF.
Lonnie, and then do I have a question? I think I might have one up there. Yeah.
It was just tagging on to that. So, I know you guys don't have it all dialed in yet, but let's say we applied this quarter and we didn't quite meet it, or we have the potential of maybe getting chosen at a later date.
Yeah. No. We're going to, again, this is new, so we're going to see how it comes in. But, let's say we got too many for the same month, we would go back and say, hey, we'd like to spread this out a little bit. Would you be willing to look at the beginning of June? And I don't think April's the magic month. It's just where we landed the first time we did this. They can, of course, they really can be throughout the year. You could do a giving day for a year-end campaign together,
Yeah, again, like Carol said, the applying in March was just sort of our first test of how many people are interested, how many groups are sort of in a ready to go kind of mode, and just because you apply in this first March go around, you could be applying in March for a back to school campaign in September. It doesn't have to. Again, we're sort of thinking of the whole full calendar year ahead of us, and the rolling applications are more for our kind of planning purposes.
I see a question
sorry.
in the front. So the seed funding is covering the branding, the digital assets, the toolkit, and then there will be some money available to help you boost your social media. And then with Fundraise, there's the opportunity, there's the using the platform, and if you do use the Fundraise technology, then there's the opportunity for the bonus pool. That's being provided by Fundraise.
I thought it was pretty cool.
I know.
When he said it in the meeting, I was like, who wouldn't do this?
Yes. Yeah, that's a great question. Let us think about that, and I'll get your information. Typically, we haven't had PTAs have profiles on Nonprofit Central, so I think we need to know a little bit more about what your idea is, and we can see if we can make it happen. Okay? And there was a question.
One, did I hear if you are selected that we would need to use Fundraise as platform, so we can choose to keep our own if we already have?
Correct. Yeah.
But it could be integrated though with the landing homepage though.
Right. So I believe if you decide to do your own, like accepting the donations on your own page, I don't know that we could have a link to their own page. It would be through Fundraise, correct?
I mean, so in this particular case, no. You know, as like for our customers with a campaign site, yes, you can link out, you know, to anywhere, but in this particular use case, it'd be a little bit too complex.
And I would suggest for campaign cohesiveness, if you're part of a campaign and say there's 10 of them and 9 are going to use the campaign page, I would advise against just using your own, because then you're not part of driving toward the campaign. You wouldn't be able to accurately report on the numbers.
So it goes from your web page that you set up, not our own web page.
The donations would go through very similar to iHeartOC. Do you remember all the donations went through the iHeartOC website? And they will all go through the Fundraise website, all the online donations?
But it was very important when we talked with Justin and is to make sure that people can give directly to you through that. So it's not just going to be evenly split. If people just generally give to the campaign with no allocation or specification to you, then you'll capture some of that donation, but they have the ability to go in and give directly to you. So it wouldn't make sense for you to do it separately if that was where the campaign was being hosted.
I'm going to take one more question, and then we're here, but I want to be conscious of your time. It's 4:30, so I'm going to do one question here, and then everybody else, please come down and feel free to talk to us. Yes, we're going to try to have our web page updated by the end of the week, and then we'll be sending out a link to everybody that registered for today, and we'll probably send it out to everybody in Nonprofit Central, so you'll be able to get to our web page and pull down the LOI and see the slides. The video is going to take us a little longer. That's our goal. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming today. I want to thank our speakers and our panelists. And I want to thank PIMCO Foundation for having us. And we're here, so if we didn't get your question, please come and talk to us. Thank you.